Hello and welcome. I'm Jenny, founder of Gentle Landmark and the host of Gathering Voices. This is your go-to podcast for real, raw stories from women who are out here building businesses, creating change, and making waves in their communities. In this episode, we explore how releasing self-imposed limits open the door to profound growth. Through life transitions like motherhood, we reflect on self-discovery, the power of community and co-creation, and living with intention. Grounded in reflection, communication, and intuition, we invite you to expand into new possibilities together. Hi, Davika. How are you?
So happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have you with us today. We're going to go through some lovely topics of conversation. These are topics that are all really close to my heart, so I'm excited to get into it.
Likewise.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Okay, amazing. Again, my name is Devika. I am a connector, a lover of life and people and experiences. Through my nonprofit, the Global Awakening Foundation, I focus on conscious living, global immersion, and rediscovering what it means to be human from learning diverse cultures and integrating into international settings around the world. So I also run a boutique marketing firm, and as an extension of that, I founded the Mom Market, which is a space dedicated to supporting women, entrepreneurs, and moms in business, local in the Lehigh Valley. And above all, and most importantly, I am a mom to my beautiful son who profoundly shapes and strengthens me every day.
I'm curious, what made you want to travel as the main objective of your nonprofit?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it goes back from a really early age. So I was raised in a bilingual household. So we spoke French and English. And my mother is Moroccan and my dad is French. So from an early age, we had a very European outlook on life and also just our upbringing. And we were always traveling and being exposed to our roots and also just beyond. So I feel very blessed that my family had always encouraged traveling in the best way possible. I started solo traveling at the age of 16. I
Oh,
am
wow.
also, yeah, it was very young. I believe I was in the middle of high school at that time. And my parents were always very encouraging and supportive of travel and learning and art and history. So they would help me pack my bags and give me the boot out the door and say, go explore the world. So
Oh, wow. I feel like that is not a normal thing, specifically in American culture, maybe. So that's really beautiful
yeah.
that you had that opportunity growing up and
Yeah,
that like support.
absolutely. I think also there's a sense of overprotection in a way that happens. And perhaps maybe that's more so found in American culture. It's like a fear-based living. But
Yeah.
I find that being able to step into unfamiliar situations fosters growth in really incredible ways that shapes your character and taps into your internal compass so that you have a really good sense of self that can guide you in these unknown environments. You know, when I was traveling overseas, my first trip on my own was to Guadeloupe. I had done a volunteer excursion, and I was also lucky to have family from my friend's side who was living there as well.
Nice.
So this was like a great first introduction to overseas travel. But we were helping at the local village there. We were helping with infrastructure, with the local schools, teaching kids English. So we were there for the summer. It was a beautiful experience, and that really kicked everything off. And the following year, I found myself in India, out of all places.
Nice.
I did a language immersion that was funded by the state government, and it was a language intensive program where we would learn languages that weren't commonly taught in schools. So
Oh,
I was focused on learning Hindi and studying, so I went to a university there for the summertime. I had a host family, so it was like a full global immersion.
wow.
And everything was a first time experience for me. But at my age, I was just like bright-eyed and just in awe of everything in the world and the people I can meet, the food I can try, the places I can visit. And yeah, I think it just opened up this door where I understood like very early on that there is so much potential and possibility in the world, an opportunity that we can tap into if we take that first step and allow ourselves to experience something new.
Absolutely. I think there's so much, like you said, possibility and room for growth when we allow ourselves the ability to see outside our own perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that, having conversations with people that may not always think the way that you do or they have a different perspective, I think it opens conversation up to just seeing a different side of life and how people live. And it's a beautiful way to just kind of rediscover life. And yeah. And I also think it ties into your vision for your own life. I think that traveling overseas has really tapped into this sense of community that I want to build for myself based off of what I've experienced through my travels and bringing that back here to the US and essentially recreating that on my terms and like what I find fulfilling from those experiences.
I love traveling and I like to jump right into the culture and the
Mm.
experience and really take it in. Compared to, I know when I was growing up, not to shade anyone or anything, but those all-inclusive resorts are very
They're
they
nice.
may
I love them. But there's a time
love
and
them. They
place.
have their moments and they have their place and time to
Yeah.
truly relax and whatnot. But when I travel, I really love to immerse myself. And I think it just helps you, like you said, reflect on what you currently have.
Mm,
And then it also helps us navigate in pushing the boundaries of our own desires
mm.
and what we are capable of doing and where we want to go.
Yeah, I think, really when you choose to step outside of your comfort zone, you are essentially being reintroduced into the world from this different lens. And from my perspective, I find it so refreshing and also necessary often, throughout the days and weeks and months to make sure that I'm tapping into that. If I'm too enclosed in my own bubble and in my own mind and body, I'm also missing out on conversations and people that I can be connecting with beyond just,
Absolutely.
myself. So, in terms of like expansiveness and taking up space, becoming a mother has definitely reestablish what that looks like for me and what that feels like. I think essentially true success comes around from comfortably exploring the unknown and taking up space with confidence.
I love how you just put that because it's like you're putting together two opposites, comfort and then the unimagined or the unexplored, and somehow you can find harmony between the two. And
Absolutely.
I think that's really beautiful. And being able to understand that and then take it full force and actually utilize it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think being very mindful and intentional really comes down to essentially the success that you create for yourself, right? So I think when it comes to like dreaming big and our vision for our life and what we hope it to look like and to be, I had a recent thought where I was thinking, how high is high for me in terms of setting the bar and the ceiling? Because essentially where we choose to set that bar is it's going to reflect in our mindset and it's also going to reflect in the boundaries that we set for ourselves in life.
Yes. So
Yeah.
going off of those two differences that we talked about, comfort and the opposite of unexplored, let's go into another split of celebration as well as mourning. I know you talked about motherhood. What does that look like for you? Because motherhood, just like you're shedding one part of yourself and going into another, and it can be very complex. So I'm curious what that
Mm.
looks like for you.
Yeah, I smile because I am still in the midst of it. I think it's an everyday thing where you are constantly refining yourself and how you show up, not only for you, your family, your friends, your kids. It's just so all-encompassing. And I wasn't fully prepared for motherhood, where I was being emotionally honest with myself and what I was feeling in that point in my life. And just exploring what was going on, like what was going on inside and what that was connecting to on a deeper level. I think when you step into motherhood, like I was very blessed to have an easy pregnancy, and come postpartum, it wasn't as easy. And it's this it's an ebb and flow that happens where you are celebrating new life, this accomplishment of now stepping into motherhood and this new identity. But there's also a sense of loss for self and
Yeah.
releasing the old attachments of who you once were and what that looked like. Also, how you step into this new season and chapter in your life. So it is very complex. I think it's multi-layered. And at the time when I found out I was pregnant, I was traveling overseas. I was in India for the second time. Out
Oh, wow.
of all the places.
What a time to
What a
learn
time.
that.
I yeah, I mean the how I found out was just crazy, and I was definitely in denial, and it just went right over my head. But I found out I was pregnant. I was working on the Global Awakening Foundation at that time, and I was establishing programs and collaborations overseas with youth programs. So I was in the heart of something that I was so passionate about. When I found out, I wasn't quite ready to release that. I was just getting started, and I had to have a period in that time where I just sat back and mourned. And that's okay. I think it's necessary because at some point in that time, you're going to get to that stage. And I felt like I got to that essentially pretty early on, like the second I found out. So there's a level of surrendering to that and knowing what is coming and then preparing for that. I think that's the best way you can set yourself up for success. So surrender, adapt, accept, and then give yourself the love that you know you need
Yes.
during that time.
There's many ways to go about it, but I think what you just said is really beautiful and eye-opening of, you know, mourning what that may be, because I think holding on to any kind of negative energy that you may have towards something is never going to be a positive, right? So you need to give yourself that time to digest and reflect, how am I going to do this? What are the pros, cons, in betweens, so that you know how to plan and prepare. So I think that's a really beautiful message going forward for anyone in any kind of situation, to be honest, because you can find those situations, not even in just motherhood, but also just different points of life, that there's always those things. And allowing that time for mourning is so important in whatever way that is.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And throughout life, adult life, we constantly encounter these different challenges, but being prepared with how you're going to handle that and navigate those is going to give you ultimately the most success and outcomes. So trusting the timing of life when it collides with your ambitions and knowing that things will always work out. I'm a strong, strong believer that life happens for you, not to you.
Yes.
And it's this constant reminder that during pregnancy and postpartum, I got more into religion beyond just observing. And it was a huge pillar to ground me during this time. And I am so thankful that I had such an amazing community that I could lean into while I was balancing this newness of motherhood and this transition. So it allowed me to more honestly embrace aspects of myself as a mother and also have like women who are already in the thick of it be able to guide me as well.
That's amazing. As we're talking about community and support, I know you've recently launched a new endeavor.
Yes.
So why don't you share that with us?
Oh my gosh, I am so excited about this. Jennifer, we've talked about this a little bit, but
Yes.
this concept has truly been the driving force to the importance of community for moms, for women. So we're talking about the mom market here. It has started as this extension of my boutique marketing firm, and I wanted to get creative with ways that I can tap into community more intentionally and also be able to give back while also creating something. You know, when the idea came, I was chatting with a mom friend who is a spectacular businesswoman. We were talking about balancing work and family and just life and when we have time for all of it, because sometimes it's like we don't have enough hours in the day.
Yeah.
And it's
I
not.
think we can all understand that.
Yeah. So when it comes to organizing work, personally, I need to coordinate when I can take a couple hours out of the house and just focus on work. And it's not easy being a full-time mom with that. So she agreed. I talked to some more moms about it, and the idea just popped in my head. I said, I wish there was a dedicated space to support women and moms in business. And she was like, I like that. I would support that. I said, okay, amazing. And within the same day, I started going to different markets. I started with farmers markets and I'm chatting with their coordinators.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have an idea. What do you think about this? How does this resonate with you? And the feedback that I was receiving was just incredible. The support, like the responses were just, yes, this is so needed. This initiative is something we don't have in the Valley. I would love to support this. And the more I talked to women, the more I talked to moms in business, like I knew that there was something there. So I allowed the idea to be as big as it needed to be. And I didn't limit it. I just let it take up space. I had all these creative visions of what it could look like, where it could be, what the event would look like itself, and even beyond just the pop-up markets. And that's why I'm here right now with all of this. I
Literally
mean,
one connection at that spurred us into where we are
yeah.
right now.
I mean, this is how you and I met. I'm so fortunate to have been able to connect with you and reach out to you and just
Yes.
start conversing because at the end of the day, this is the most fulfilling part for me. It's being able to talk with women in business who have a like-minded mindset. It's a lot of minds in there, but yeah, it's just women who are actively trying to better themselves and their life, and they want to contribute in an impactful way to the community at large, but also put their vision to the test and make it a reality. There's something so powerful about that. And
Yeah.
being on the back end and front end, supporting that and giving a platform for women to use their voices to reach a wider audience, like that is something that is, I mean, it's just
It's
incredible.
absolutely. And I think you were talking about how, you were telling one person and the next person throughout all those conversations, it was affirming you that, this was a direction to go. I'm going to get a little bit off topic here,
Yeah.
but when it comes to an idea that you have, I think oftentimes we get stuck in this mindset that we should keep it to ourselves
Mm.
until it actually comes to fruition. And through that, I think is very kind of toxic, to be honest, because every business, every idea you have, it's community driven. It's going to be with other people in some way, whether it's the way people interact with it or providing a need for someone. And being able to talk it through and getting that emotion and feeling from others is huge. And I think that's what continues the drive. I know for myself, I went through those things. I'm just going to do this, let people find out as it's going. But as my business has been evolving into more community driven events and socials and guiding resource, the
Yeah.
more I have those conversations with others and the more people who back what I'm doing and tell me, like, hey, this is needed, the more I am propelled to do and accomplish.
Mm.
But it also just shows that we're both in the community of supporting women.
Absolutely.
And there is a huge lack of support for women. And I don't want to necessarily speak on the world necessarily because I can speak for the Lehigh Valley, but it goes hand in hand that we as women, we're just constantly suppressed and hearing from one another that we need this or this isn't available just helps us push and dream big.
Mm. Yeah, I have a couple thoughts on this. So I feel like in terms of the support for women versus men, it's different. And I think
Very.
it's not an easy thing to compare because I do believe that there are lack of resources when it comes to men and men's mental health and the current
Absolutely.
state of just depression and suicide in the US and also beyond because there are statistics that show things are similar in different countries, for example, the UK or Canada. But when it comes to women in business, I think that the resources to break that glass ceiling and re-envision what business looks like beyond just a traditional sense, I think that is a really important angle to focus on because how many women entrepreneurs are out there that have multi-million dollar businesses that are CEOs? The numbers are very, very small compared to men in
Yeah.
business. I would love to see more women CEOs that are scaling their companies to be beyond just international. And I think that's something that's so empowering. Also, something that we're hoping to be able to provide at the mall market on the off months, because it's going to be a seasonal pop-up.
Yeah.
We want to host these networking events where we can then bring in women business leaders to be able to speak on their experience and share this is the motivation and inspiration that we can share with you to be able to create something. But just know
Yes.
it's possible. And that's the most important thing. So that's my thought on that.
Yeah.
And then my thought on these ideas that we come up with, like when we're in the thick of business and we're thinking about things and we don't want to present them till they're perfect or they're fully complete. I think beyond that being toxic, it's self-limiting, which in a way can be toxic to yourself. So
Yes.
it
Yeah.
goes full circle there.
Absolutely.
But I think any good business idea, anything successful involves leaning into your community. I mean,
Yeah.
you can say that you could do it all, but like at the end of the day,
You
you're going to
can't.
be exhausted.
Burnout is real.
It's so real. But also, if you are trying to create the reach to a wider audience, like lean in, have conversations. You're going to talk to people. You have to share your idea for people to know about it, right?
Yeah.
So having those conversations and being okay with receiving feedback on how you can improve some things or just gauging how receptive the concept is to other people, I think that is so valuable. And you are then intentionally creating and building something from the ground up.
Yeah, let's go more into talking about community as well. One thing that has led me in my business into going more community driven is just the pure gratification I think I get in supporting others and uplifting them and making sure that they're heard and they feel seen.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that community is the greatest thing that you can be a part of and create roots in. I've found that, if I'm ever in a rut, if I don't feel like myself or I don't know, there's just some sort of disconnection happening, I can identify it. And then my solution to it is doing something where I'm giving back.
Yeah.
Because I think that shifting your perspective on just thinking about you and now focusing on something outside of yourself and how you can contribute in a positive, impactful way, you feel different then. And this kind of ties for me personally with motherhood. This sense of isolation that happens as you're transitioning and stepping into motherhood. After a certain number of days, you're like, okay, I'm sick of this. I need something here. And for me, the mom market was like this ding, ding, ding. The light went off, and I was like, yes. It almost came out of this need for connection and creative expression. So when it comes to grounding yourself, giving back is the best way I feel like you can do that.
Yeah. It's an intentional thing too, right?
Mhm.
So thinking outside of yourself and your needs, but intentionally immersing yourself into your community and giving back in a way that not only helps others, but also helps yourself.
100%. It reignites this sense of purpose. And yeah, in terms of just, it's like a remedy. You rejuvenate your own spirit through it. It can just be so profound at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, what gets you most excited about the mom market with creating this community and contributing to push their businesses forward? What's your purpose and your hope and your drive for this pop-up experience?
The honest dialogues that I'm able to have, like the platform that I'm creating for moms to be able to connect on a very honest and raw level has so much value to it because when we're in mom mode and like that's the mindset, we kind of have this bubble around us that can essentially hold us very close to ourselves and we need to care for our children. It's just the focus is everywhere, but it's still contained. And being able to expand and allow yourself to be surrounded by the right people who are also running businesses for you to be able to find inspiration from their stories and their trials and errors. Those conversations and perspectives can really help elevate where you want to go. So when it comes to the mom market, I think just the process in its entirety has been so fulfilling. It's like it's incredible. It excites me so much. I wake up in the morning, it's the first thing I think about. I go to sleep, I'm like, I have 10 more ideas at the end of the day. And there's so many possibilities. I'm not limiting any of them. I'm just letting them be and they can just float in my mind and just come in and out. And when it comes to this upcoming market, this is really essentially a debut into the Lehigh Valley community. So this
Yeah.
is a completely new experience. And having conversations and getting myself out there in front of the right people who can connect me with other people. And the more, like we spoke about this a little bit, but the more you talk to people, the more you realize everyone is connected together. It's just this tapestry of woven stories of these incredible entrepreneurs in the community. So success really requires both external support and a strong self-reliance. Listen to your gut, cultivate that inner compass where you have the ability to guide yourself confidently through the things that you're not that familiar with. And then don't hesitate to lean on your circle, the people around you. So, yeah.
That was really beautiful, as in the tapestry that you weave together. I think that was an amazing. I don't even want to go any further with this conversation. That was just so beautifully wrapped up. So go ahead, share more about the market, when it's coming, what you have to do to
Absolutely.
get there.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, Jennifer. So the Mom
Yes.
Market is coming to the Lehigh Valley at the Bethlehem Rose Garden, August 24th, 9:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're
Yes.
kicking off the market with a community yoga class. It's free, all levels flow. It's like a hatha style, so great like wake up and it'll be in the rose beds, which is amazing and just so
Beautiful.
scenic and who doesn't love
Yes.
that? And then right
Absolutely.
after, you can mosey on to the market. We're going to have amazing local vendors and entrepreneurs. I will have a vinyl DJ who's spinning. So
Love
great loop
it.
tunes. And then throughout the market, there will be activities to just engage with like local business owners. We're going to have a Miss Rachel come and do a story time for the kids. There'll
Love
be
it.
superheroes and Disney princesses that come and, do a little meet and greet.
Cute.
And we'll have a family self-defense class and also amazing food and drinks and arts and crafts and everything. So the community support is amazing. We would love to see everybody there. And you can keep up to date at Moms Meet Market on Instagram.
Amazing. It sounds like it's going to be a well-loved and heartfelt event. I will also be there, so you can see me there
Amazing.
as well. So thank you, Davika, for joining me today. This has been a wonderful conversation, and we'll look forward to the event.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Jennifer. This has been
Yeah.
incredible and such an amazing opportunity. So thank you again for having me.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Gathering Voices. Don't forget, we release a new episode every month filled with more inspiring stories and heartfelt conversations. Stay connected, stay inspired, and let's continue to celebrate the voices that shape our world. Until next time, take care and share your story.